You, Your Excellency, have a role with President Zelenskyy because of different opinions or different understandings. I know your point because you really just want peace, but it can't be at any cost. Because if you look back at the history of all the communism in Russia only, no, I'm not talking about other countries yet, and you can see how many millions of people died of all kinds of punishment. It was just simple. Peace-loving citizens, they have not been acquainted with communism, but the governments at those times punished them with death, starvation, pain, physical abuse of all kinds. Then you cannot really trust a born communist. I'm so sorry if I have offended any other communist country. I don't mean it that way. I'm also burning inside for the peace of Ukraine and Russia. Hundreds of thousands die already. How many more do we want them to die before they even enjoy their life? You know, young people, children who lost their parents, lost their life, being crippled in the war for no fault of their own. Don't tell me about karma and all that stuff. You know nothing about karma anyway. So you can't tell me, oh, no, this is because of karma. Even if I know it's karma, my heart still hurts. And then nobody, no medicine can cure that unless I see peace. And President Trump is the only one who would have the most hope for us to make peace in Ukraine, in Russia, and the world. So please support him, by the way. So President Trump, we have to continue this effort to make peace. I know you're not against President Zelenskyy anyway, even if he makes some comments not to your liking, not good opinions to your liking, to the peace process. But you must know, you cannot lean towards Russia and abandon Europe through Ukraine. I don't want to offend anybody because I know it's not safe for me. I'm alone. I'm only, a weak and fragile woman. What for I'm doing this? But I can't just blink my eyes, turn away, or just pretend that nothing happened. Because every day I have to search the news for my TV, for our association's TV, Supreme Master TV. Nothing is really mine. We do it as a group effort, a team, support, team oneness. And I'm grateful to Noah, to God Almighty. I'm such a lucky person. I have so much support and in oneness from my association members. Because when I gave them initiation, this is something that's not in physical terms you can even describe. It only goes from spirit to spirit. And by God's grace, by God's permission, God gave me this title, that title, just to let my so-called God's disciples know who I am, so they can trust me. It's not that I care about all that. It just gives me more trouble in the world when people, doubt you and don't think much of you, and you have such a big title, for example. And I have to even announce it openly to the world because God ordered me to do that. What for do I need all these titles? Nobody gives me anything. I take nothing from anyone. Just like you became president, but you never took a salary for that position. I take nothing. President Trump, I take nothing. At least this we have something in common. I earn my own living, yes, and I live very, very frugally. In fact, I live like in a refugee camp right now, A very simple life, a few pair of clothes, simple food. I don't have a good room even, not even just a one-room studio with hot running water. So please know that I'm sincere. I'm with you in this peace wanting aspect. I have nothing against you. I'm 100% with you, for you. Even after you did not get the job back 4 years ago. At that time, I was also devastated because I knew war would break out. Many bad things would come out. I knew that. And I was so very, very, very sad, very miserable, because they made you lose the election.
Master, now that President Trump has accepted Biden's win, what does Master think about that?
What do I think? I'm scared. I'm scared for your country and for the world. Getting downward, I hope it doesn't go down too fast. This kind of leadership, how can you lead the country, especially America, supposed to be the leading country of the world, and have this kind of leadership? I'm not sorry to say it. I'm sorry for your country. I mean, for America. What do I think? That's what I think. I think it's already outright not fair, okay?
Yes.
But you did win, I know that. All heavens and earth knew that you won. Okay, never mind about that. I'm just wanting to remind you that the Russian people are good, very kind, very beautiful people. I've been there, I know. It's just that the leaders, the governments, are not always as expected, like caring for their own citizens and truly doing all they can for peace. But I'm not blaming Putin alone. It's all the bad energy that we created in this world as humans. All this killing, all this abortions, and all this slaughtering, murdering of innocent animal people who done nothing wrong to us. All this great bad energy, and push it into a big kind of, just like a bomb, waiting to explode. So Putin is just an instrument for this energy. But nevertheless, because we as humans, we are infected by the society, by the education that we receive as a kid, by the treatment by neighbors or our own parents, or our friends, so-called friends, our siblings, whatever circumstances we are born into, that affected us a lot. So we have mind, we have brain also, and we have heart, and we follow whatever we have been taught. We have been influenced by. So even if President Putin is a good person, he cannot always overcome all this influence from the communist brutal kind of treatment to whoever doesn't agree with them. As you can see, look back how many millions of people died for nothing, for no fault of their own, in such a brutal way that a human cannot treat another human like that. And look at Hitler, just one person killed so many millions of innocent people. And sometimes not because they wanted to, but because they have been influenced by their nearby friends or nearby subordinates, working government subordinates. And sometimes from personal kind of vengeance, it becomes national and then it becomes international. Many of the wars started from a personal vengeance kind of feeling, and it became bigger and bigger and bigger. Personal passion is more strong. It's much stronger than any weapon. It just pushes, drives people to insanity, to badness, and they can't control it. Personal, hatred and personal jealousy cause a lot of upheaval in the world. You know all that. So now you cannot just abandon Europe through Ukraine. You cannot just support Mr. Putin, even though you admire him, perhaps, even though you sympathize with him. I also have one sympathy for Putin, even though I don't know much about politics in the world, because he has also been through a lot of humiliation. Before, he was a better boy. He did everything he could and had many wins for Russia, even in sport or in international kind of Olympics. He fought with all his might by his personal strength, and he always appeared himself in personal meetings with the International Olympic Council, for example, and then won for Russia the Olympic Games in his own country. One time I remember that. I think it was in Sochi, yes. So he was very passionate about his country. But he has been criticized a lot by other leaders in the world. Every time before I read some news, the president this, president that, always, whenever meeting him, always belittle him, criticize him, slander him to his face, and it's all over on the internet or in the newspapers. And he didn't do much about that. But over the years, it might have bottled up into something. And it might have been one small little motivation, one small little push also to make the war in Ukraine. I'm not defending him, okay? I don't like this war. From the beginning to now, I always supported Ukraine. And we don't even air anything about Russia anymore on our Supreme Master television ever since the war began. I'm just telling you all this so that you know my true intention and my real support for peace. And I don't have a lot of money like you have, but I give as much as I can afford to Ukraine through my own money and through my disciples also. And we even support opening a vegan restaurant in Ukraine also so that we can help from there other people, other soldiers and war victim people. We continue doing that in our very humble, small way.